Howdy, I'm Mike, and welcome to my garden. It's 40 feet by 40 feet, or 1,600 square feet, and I call it Rancho Reiso. This is my second garden tour of 2016. Today is May 30th, and it's actually Memorial Day. So a special thank you to all of our men and women who have bravely served and fought for our freedom. I'm going to show you what's gone on in the last month and a half here at the garden. Hope you enjoy. So by mid-April, I was harvesting broccoli. I had planted 50 sunflowers, and my peas, well, they're going off the hook. Also, my herbs like echinacea were blooming, and I was harvesting chamomile, which I was drying, and I used to make awesome tea. On Mother's Day, I gave my mom a beautiful bouquet of carrots. Hi, Mom. I mean, look at these carrots. Absolutely gorgeous, several varieties. And I was harvesting cauliflower, spinach, and onions. It's early in the morning on Saturday, May 14th. And this weekend, my plans for the garden are to put 5 variety of heirloom cucumber into the ground. And all but one of them were started from seed. And I'm going to put them in the spot that used to have broccoli, spinach, and cauliflower, which are all pretty much picked, and I'm going to take out the weeds, the rest of that crop. I'm going to turn the soil using the broad fork. I'm going to amend it, and then I got to put some trellises for the cucumbers to climb, and I use these weld wire fences that right now I have the peas, which are pretty much played out on those fences. So I'm going to take those out, use them as trellises, get the ground ready, plant the cucumbers, and if we have leftover time this weekend, I'm gonna dig up some garlic. So let's rock and roll.
Train, don't pull no winkers. This train, I said this train, don't pull no winkers. This train, no. This train, don't pull no winkers. No crap shooter and no whiskey drinkers. It's a clean train, this train. You know this train don't pull no jokers, this train. This train don't pull no jokers, this train. This train don't pull no jokers, no tobacco chewers, and no cigar smokers, because this train is a clean train. You know this train. Let's ride the train. This train is on the way to glory. This train, yeah, this train is on the way to glory. Ooh, this train. A clean train, this train.
So you ever have that feeling you're being watched while you want to do some gardening? Right? At the moment I kind of have that feeling. I have one for everybody. All right. Here, hold on, guys. Hold on, your turn. Well, everybody gets a turn. Your turn. Your turn. So here's an example of one of the many visitors that I got in my backyard. I prefer him over rattlesnake. I also finished planting peppers, probably 50 peppers in all. But one thing that you'll know I have to do a lot of in my garden is spray. I spray organic neem oil probably once a week, not to eliminate pests, but really just to control them. So I got a couple of heirloom Indian varieties of carrots, and they've been in the ground a little while. Time to pull them up, see what we get. Alright, so I've left some carrots in the ground, which I'll harvest later, but let's try a couple of these. So starting here in the east quadrant, where I have my tomato plants, most are doing really well. You can see I've made some weld wire cages, which really hold much tighter than a traditional tomato cage. And if I take a look at this one, I think it's San Marzano, a variety of San Marzano. Lots of green fruit starting to happen. This doesn't look like a good one, I'll get rid of it. But nothing ripe yet. And then a few of the plants a little more scraggly. Over here, one of my tomatoes didn't make it, so in its place I put a golden zucchini. But again, tomatoes are mostly looking pretty good. Here's a blueberries variety, wild boar blueberries. And again, starting to show blue, but still very green. And I think I have a second tomato that's not gonna make it. But lots of green fruit on different plants. All the different varieties starting to show. Some interesting purple and blue varieties. So tomatoes are coming along. All right, so in this quadrant of my garden, in the first row here, I have 12 pepper plants. One of them is a variety of jalapeno back there called Chichimeca. And then up front here I have the Santa Fe Grande peppers. Now these are both mildly hot peppers, and it's worth noting that these varieties are hybrids. Last year I grew nothing but heirlooms. This year most of my crops are heirlooms, but I did throw in a few hybrids, particularly in the peppers. I won't be saving seeds from them because hybrid seeds are not consistent with the parent. And important to note, this is not the same as GMO or genetically modified. I don't grow anything that's GMO. Usually only grow heirlooms so I can save seeds, but in this case I have a hybrid variety and look forward to seeing how they turn out. Behind that I have 2 rows of corn. Both of these are Rancho Reiso corn. It was a cross between strawberry popcorn and Cherokee long ear, both of which I grew last year and both cross-pollinated. Well, here's a couple of hummingbirds flying through the garden. Anyways, this front smaller row was planted in the ground, I don't know, a week or two later than this second row, which is of the same variety, the Rancho Reiso popcorn cross. And then these 2 rows of corn are glass gem. So look forward, they're very colorful popcorn. And here are my sunflowers. Last garden installment, about a month and a half, 2 months ago, they weren't even in the ground. So you can see how fast my 3 or really 4 varieties of giant sunflower coming along. And I do have to spray them occasionally to control the insects. Of course, only organic sprays. Neem oil in particular I'm using. Discuss that later in the video. Here I have 4 rows, each row of about a dozen, almost all different kinds of peppers. So you can see some of them are starting to put up some of the peppers. But lots and lots of interesting varieties. Some sweet, some hot, some for sauces. Here I have 2 rows of cucumbers recently planted. My varieties are Japanese cuke. I have Kish White, Lemon cuke, Aleph Bet cuke, and A&C pickling. Here are some of the last carrots that haven't been pulled out of the ground. Let's see what we got here. A nice big carrot. Yeah, beautiful. And here are some of the miscellaneous garlic. And these are ones from cloves that maybe I just bought with the intention of using them for cooking. So we'll dry and cure those out, and I'll show you a little bit about that. The garlic. Over here in this quadrant, as you can see, it's once I pull up my last garlic, it's ready to replant. So I'm not sure what I'll be planting in this quadrant, but I have a couple varieties of garlic still here. I'll probably be putting a lot of my herbs, maybe some pole beans. And so here are the last of my garlic. I have a couple of elephant, a couple of Persian star, and a couple of Russian giant still to pull out. And I'll probably start taking most of this out. You can see this one still has a scape, which I didn't cut off. But in most of them, I've already cut the scapes off. So this one must have come up late. And then take a quick look at the onions. So I still have a few onions to come out of the ground, but for the most part I've enjoyed a lot of great Texas sweet onions. And you can see this one here is starting to grow a bulb, which will flower if I let it. So I use a pitchfork to reach underneath the garlic bulb, loosen the soil, and lift them out of the ground. Out came my last garlic bulbs. So after you take garlic out of the ground, you have to let it dry out or cure. And so what I do is I put them in these pans and I put them in my shed for about 2 weeks, let them dry out. Here, for example, is some of the elephant garlic, and it's still kind of moist right in the center of the stalk. So it still has a little longer to go. And then once they're dried out, I will save the best and biggest cloves. In this case, these are Inchilium red. And I'll use the cloves in these bulbs to plant next year, with plenty to enjoy and eat and share with friends. Well, there you have it. My second installment of the Rancho Reiso garden tour for 2016. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you watched some of my other videos. Thanks very much and have a good one.